And welcome to Duck Snow Sports. This week, talking about week 4 of the NFL. Should be interesting with a lot of interesting matchups as always. But this just coming down the wire. Sounds like the NFL has come to agreement with their real referees. It sounds like the real refs could be back in action as soon as this Sunday. So great news. You don't have to deal with these jokers known as the replacement refs. As pretty call last week in the Seattle Green Bay game, one of the worst calls ever seen. Clearly an interception, and let's call for this. These replacement refs have been god awful from start to finish, missed call to missed call to missed call. So it'll be good to have the real guys back. But we'll start with our first matchup of the week as the San Francisco 49ers, coming off their devastating loss to Minnesota, travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets. Start with San Fran. There's a lot that said last week. Maybe San Fran isn't as good as they thought they were. Maybe they aren't that lockdown Super Bowl contender that everybody thought they would be. I personally thought last week's loss was actually good for San Francisco. Keeps them on track, showing that hey, they still got to do the little things to win games. Because in my opinion, San Francisco is still the best team in the league. Alex Smith just continues to get it done, finding his new weapons such as Randy Moss, Manningham, and of course finding Vernon Davis, so reliable tight end. And on defense, the best defense in the league, no doubt, and a really good running game with Frank Gore. So I think San Francisco will be fine. It was just a little slip up. I don't think be things to come in the future. I think they'll be fine going forward. And it was good because sometimes you lose a game, it makes you work a little harder, makes you not take everything for granted. And I think that's happening here because I always think San Francisco will be fine. And the other side of this game, we got the New York Jets, who are pretty up and down this season. Beating down the Buffalo Bills week 1, they look great. Week 2, slipping up against the Steelers, didn't look so good. And last week, barely going to win against a very bad Miami Dolphin team. And this team seems to go as well as their QB, Mark Sanchez, is playing that day. So Sanchez is slinging and playing a good game, then the whole team starts rolling. But when he throws interceptions and it goes down a little bit, it seems like the team can't get behind him, and they seem to lose. And the New York just took a big blow last week as Darrelle Revis, in my opinion, the best corner in the NFL, went down for the years with an injury. So I don't expect the New York Jets defense to be as dominant as it's been the last few years, because let's be face it, in that type of defense where you want to play man-to-man and just get after the passer, you need a good lockdown corner. And with Revis going out, there's your lockdown corner's gone. See if maybe somebody else can step up and be that guy. I don't know. We'll see. But this defense hasn't played well all this year, and with their best player on defense going out for the year, I don't really see them getting any better. And I think it's going to hurt this team because this team is built on their strong defense and run the football. And if you take their defense away, this team is average at best, maybe less than average. And that's why I just do not like them this week, as they're going to be playing a pissed-off 49er team who has got a chip on their shoulder and pissed off about losing. And I just think Alex Smith, all his great weapons, and they're going to pack that defense tight in MetLife Stadium. They're going to come to play in New York. And I believe the San Francisco 49ers go to the East Coast and beat the Jets. In our next game, as the reeling 0-3 the New Orleans Saints travel to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. I'll start with New Orleans here. New Orleans, going in the year, a lot of people thought they were still that Super Bowl contender, at least a playoff contender, maybe the best team in the South. But with losing their coach for the year and then losing other players for the year, it's pretty clear that this bounty scandal has hurt the Saints, and it's pretty clear they're missing Sean Payton right now. It's pretty clear Drew Brees is missing Sean Payton. More importantly, he's missing Sean Payton. Sean Payton did a lot. Really helped the team get going. Really was a motivator on the field. This new guy isn't quite the same, and was a really good play caller, especially for Drew Brees. He's been calling the plays ever since he's got to New Orleans as head coach back in 2006. So I really like the Saints. I don't like the Saints going forward this year because I really just think their season, it's all on the line this week. Because if they lose a game, you're not starting 0-4 and going to playoffs. It's not going to happen. And 0-3, they're in an uphill battle right now. I still don't believe that they're going to make the playoffs, even if they go on a streak here. I just don't think they have. I don't think that's not that they have the weapons. They just don't. They do not have the weapons this year to compete with teams like the Falcons in that division. And I think New Orleans Saints are in for rough company this year. And on the other side of this game, you got the Green Bay Packers, who are coming off a game they should have won. Let's be honest, that call at the end of the game on Monday night was awful. Horrible, bad call. Clear interception. Packers should have won that game. And the Packers have to let it go because they can't hold on to that and think they should have won, because they got a game this week against a desperate Saints team, and they have to come ready to play. And I think with Green Bay struggling a little bit to come out of the gates, 1-2, should be 2-1, but who would say that? But, Aaron Rodgers isn't playing that great this year. And I don't think it's all his fault, because his offensive line is just god-awful. On Monday night, every time, it seemed like he was getting sacked every time he was out there. It was ridiculous. His offensive line, gets no push up front, just a bad offensive line for years. Aaron Rodgers, shows where Aaron Rodgers is, because he's been pretty good behind his offensive line. That's been pretty bad for years. They can't really run the ball that good in Green Bay. And I just think, the Green Bay Packers are still a good team. Are they the best team in the North? I still think they are. Can they go to the Super Bowl? That's dicey, but I think this week, I think they get the job done, as I think Aaron Rodgers comes ready to play. I think this defense, who every week gets a little better, comes to play this week, and I believe the Green Bay Packers basically end the Saints season this week and beat down the New Orleans Saints. With that being said, there could be some history this week, as Drew Brees could tie Johnny U's record for most consecutive TD thrown consecutively through a number of games, which is 47 games. And I think it's done this week, because all he needs is one touchdown, and he's been doing that for the last 3 years. So very impressive for Mr. Drew Brees, still one of the elite QBs in the NFL. And our next game, the New York Giants, coming off a very impressive win against Carolina Panthers, traveled to the Link to take on Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles. So with the Giants, last week's performance was really good. Basically the last 6 quarters for Eli Manning he's been very dominant, very good QB, finding all his weapons, spraying the ball out, still running the ball well, even without Bradshaw in there. And on defense, this defense, this is what the Giants are. They're a great defensive team, and that just shows year in, year out, a steady defensive team. And the Giants, if they keep playing this way, they may have a good shot at the East still. Consistently, that's what they've been. The last 5-6 years, they've been the most consistent team in the East. And they're showing it why they are the Super Bowl champions. And if Eli Manning keeps playing this way, then the Giants will be in good shape going forward for the rest of the year. Then on the side, you have a Philadelphia Eagles team who is 2-1, granted, 2-1, good record, but there's still a lot of red flags. This team could easily be 0-3 right now. So it's not like this team has been that dominant this year. Michael Vick, game after game, gets turnover after turnover, not playing well. Seems to throw a lot of interceptions lately. Not the old Mike Vick that we're used to seeing. And I think this is a big game for Philadelphia, because if they can go here on Sunday Night Football and show up the Giants and put a real game against their rival, I really think the Philadelphia Eagles will be in good shape for the rest of the year. And I think Philadelphia's going to be this week, because I think Mike Vick could come to play on Sunday Night Football. He's very good in primetime games. This defense, that's what the difference between last year's Eagle team and this year's Eagle team is, this defense, because this defense every week gets better and better, and I think they're going to be in Eli Manning's face all game long and force him to make dumb throws, which we're used to seeing with Eli through the years. I think Mike Vick has 0 turnovers. I don't think he turns over the ball once. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles defense gets after Eli Manning, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New York Giants. And our next game is the Monday Nighter, when the Chicago Bears roll in to Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Should be an interesting one. We'll start with Chicago. 2 weeks ago we saw the blow up in Chicago with Jay Cutler yelling at his offensive lineman. Basically a lot of people on that team basically told Jay Cutler to shut up and just play football. And that's what he did last week against the Rams. Was amazing. Throwing a few touchdowns. Him and Brandon Marshall, sick chemistry back in the days in Denver. And Chicago Bears are a good team. They could be the best team in the North. They could be better than the Packers right now. And this defense, year after year, this defense is good, and it just shows this year that they still are a good defense. And if Jay Cutler can take his game to the next level and stop all the complaining and bitching, then the Chicago Bears will be in good shape. And I think they're going to have a good week this week because they're playing a Dallas team who, just like the New York Jets, seem to be a lot of up and down this year. Tony Romo, I'm not the hugest Tony Romo fan in the world, but he played well last week against Tampa Bay. Yes, it was Tampa Bay, but he played really well. And against week 1, he played really well. Then week 2, he played really bad. So it goes to show you that this team kind of rolls how Tony Romo rolls. And I'm not a big fan of Dallas this year. I said at the beginning of the year I didn't think they were going to be a good team. And I just think Chicago is going to come in red hot, ready to play this game. I think Jay Cutler will want to have a good performance in prime time. And I think Jay Cutler and Chicago Bears take down the Dallas Cowboys this week on Monday Night Football, and I think this one could get out of hand as I love the Chicago Bears this week. And our rest of our games. The Thursday nighter, Cleveland at Baltimore. I'll take the Baltimore Ravens. New England at Buffalo. This is interesting. I'm actually going to take the upset here, the upset special, as I like the Buffalo Bills and all those crazy fans get behind this team as they beat the New England Patriots. The Patriots fall to 1-3. Seattle at St. Louis. I'm going to give Seattle a little credit. They're way better than I thought they were, and I think they will beat the St. Louis Rams this week. Carolina at Atlanta. I like Atlanta in that dome to stay undefeated on the year and take this game. Minnesota at Detroit. Even though Detroit's kind of struggled a bit out of the gate, and Minnesota's playing really well, better than I thought they would, I'll still take the Lions. San Diego at Kansas City. I'll take the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Kansas City at home, coming off that big win last week, the Saints get it done this week against the Chargers. Tennessee at Houston. I'll take the Houston Texans, stay undefeated on the year. Cincinnati at Jacksonville. I'll take Andy Dalton on the road to beat the Jaguars. Oakland at Denver. I'll take Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Miami at Arizona. I'll take Arizona. Arizona stays undefeated on the year, 4-0. Who would have thought? In our last game, Washington at Tampa Bay. I will take RG3 and the Washington Redskins. All right, that's the preview, but remember to keep track of my picks. Last week's picks, not so good as I went. 7-9, not a great week to bring my record up to 28-20, so still above 500. Still having a good year. Just last week slipped up a lot because a lot of things went against me and a lot of comebacks happened that I didn't see happening. But till next time, I'm Aaron Dux saying I'm Dux, and I know sports. Kind of.